And tonight it's the same song. Slide through the club with my chains on. And I ain't even with
Welcome
you, but it's
back,
the
man. We
same
were straight
song.
Talk Wit Mal,
They love
man.
me
We're
with my
back.
chains on.
Hey, we had to take our headings real quick,
And
you
I ain't
know.
even in the
But we're
face.
gonna come back with a topic that we need to touch on. That before I get started, the music that I was playing in the background, shout out to my artists, AT the King and K Jeter with Chains On, dropping soon, Unity Music Group. Shout out to our sponsors, man. Let's get them rec tips, man. Thank you for sponsoring Straight Talk Wit Mal. Also, the Liquor Locker in Roseville, California. If you're in Roseville, California, make sure you tap in with them. Again, today we wanted to talk on Straight Talk Wit Mal. We wanted to touch bases on topics that people are uncomfortable to talk about. So from that going forward, I'll let Mal go ahead and get into the mix of what we're talking about today.
All right, I'm Jamal, man. First and foremost, man, I want to give thanks to everybody who has been in full support of this journey and transition that I'm making. The topic that I wanted to discuss was how has child trauma affected our adulthood?
I'll start. Matter of fact, let me introduce my family, man. Both this is a family member with me and Mar. Introduce yourself.
My name is Stephen. Everybody knows SP. From East Oakland, California. I'm joining Straight Talk because basically I got a lot of input. I've been through a lot. I did almost 10 years, over 10 years in the prison system, like 9 and straight at a time. So yeah, I've been on the streets a lot. I've worked. I've been through all types of group homes, all types of things like that. So basically anything that's like mental trauma, I say I basically I've been through most of it. So I think I'm well rounded on that topic. So yeah, I'm joining in, and I like to say that if I could help somebody basically pass through something and jump over things that I tripped over, then why not? And if you can have somebody help you get through life like that, why wouldn't you take it?
Also, let me let you guys know. Again, you guys know me, Mar, cousin ODC. SP got a lot to do with the creative side, but we started this network for podcasts to turn them into shows. So Independent Road to Success Podcast Network, which is all of us are CEOs of this company. We're actually producing his show that'll come on after Moss. And I love his show because it's actually showing these youngsters on how to have go ahead and give them a little spiel before we get into this.
Basically, Becoming a Gentleman is basically it's a simple podcast on basically it's one, respecting your elders, respecting your parents, respecting others, respecting yourself for one, because nobody's gonna respect nobody that don't respect themselves, and it happens a lot with women, you know. But that's one thing that I'm big on is respecting things and learning. I'm big on you're never too old to learn. So my thing is my show is all about teaching kids proper table etiquette, looking at people in their eyes when they're talking to you, showing a sign of respect. Academically, you know, we got a lot of football players that, you know, is going to be joining the shows and all that stuff, you know, to let them know that academics becomes before you. You can't slide down. That going to that field, it's an academic slide going down. And if your grades and all that ain't up here, then you're not going to slide down to get to that field. You still going to be up there in the classroom. So that's what we trying to teach, and I'm trying to teach it big on learning and education.
So
and understanding life.
That show will be brought to you guys soon. Again, let me give a shout out to the executive producer of Straight Talk Wit Mal, his beautiful wife. Shout out to my sis, man. She makes everything happen. Shout out to my Dukes. Shout out to the family. So, Mar, to answer your question, and I want you to say that one more time for those that may have just tuned in.
You said, how does childhood trauma affect us in our adulthood?
It affects us for me, getting the proper help. If you see certain things as you grow up, right, especially coming from where we come from, consistent gunshots, consistent violence, even domestic violence, and you grow within that without getting the proper help. That's trauma. So what happens is you get older, you're only accustomed to what you have seen and been brought up. You get what I'm saying? So if you don't get the proper help to channel that, which is even talking to certain people, and it don't have to, I think, let me get this straight. Some people have a problem with I don't want to get the mental health, right? Even if you don't talk to a professional, talk to someone to release the stress that may have been through it, could help a person a lot. That's my take, on my first go around with it. How about you, Mal?
With me, the childhood trauma affects us, but we use the excuse of what I went through in my childhood is affecting my adulthood because we don't embrace the struggle and the like you said. See, I'm big on the mental thing, right? We taught to have a mental checkout where we shut down. We don't want to be bothered. So what I do, I have a mental check in. You get what I'm saying? I get and I use people who I relate to as a venting board. Like I don't allow what I'm going through in my day to affect my entire day. It might affect me for a few minutes, because I'm gonna be honest, like we had took a little vacation on this show or whatnot, and mentally I was kind of like all over the place because I found myself trying to help everybody without helping myself. Like I felt like I had it figured out for everybody. I was the come to me, I can help you with it. I got all the answers, and at the time being, I didn't even have the answers for myself. But we don't know how to understand and recognize our own struggles because we too caught up in the shell. You know what I'm saying? But everything that's under a shell is soft. You know what I'm saying? So you got to reach beneath that shell and find the softness. You know what I'm saying? And you get that with having a community, a circle of individuals who you can relate to. Because if you ever been around somebody who that energy is just dry, every time you hear about them, they complaining, what's irritating, this gets on my nerve, that gets on my nerve. That energy is affection. It's like that stuff bothers you. You know what I'm saying? So you get the energy that we got energy to where we be like, that's irritating. But what irritates us motivates us. You get what I'm saying? You'll be like, man, I don't want to be like that. I don't want to be in that situation. You get inspired to stay away from those type of things. You know what I'm saying? And so that's why it's always important to evaluate yourself. And one of the main things that we got to learn how to do is that it's never too late to rewire your thought process, unlearn the bullshit. Like if you felt like childhood trauma,
I love that.
effed over you, stop right there and rewire your system. This is a computer. All that stuff that you learned and you keep using it as an excuse. Oh man, whoa, my mama did this so I could fall victim and do this and I could be okay with it. No, it's not okay.
But hold on, let me ask you something in hindsight. How would it okay, you saying that, but what about for those that don't know how to stop and do that because they're not accustomed to actually, even in life when they're going through something, stopping and you know what, let me stop before I do this and making the decision that I make. So those how it has to, we got to teach them from the root of it.
Those are the people that it's okay to seek help, man.
But that's what I'm saying. Okay. So let's give them the root of the steps on how to do that. Like Mar said, because again, if we're going to stop and rewind ourselves, it has to start before we even get there. Because
what it is. What it is when you growing up, right? You taught like in your household, for the single parent households, your mother can raise a son, but she can't teach him how to be a father or a man. You get what I'm saying? Right. So then on the other hand, a dad can raise a daughter, but he can't teach her how to be a young lady or a woman. But so in the flip side of it, when your mama raising you, she give you that softness.
Hold on, rewind back and say that more. Say that one more time.
Which part about?
As far as the dad, you say what you just said.
The dad can raise a girl, but he can't raise a young woman or a lady. You get what I'm saying? It's certain, like, even as grown men, we don't understand the emotions of a woman, whether you want to admit it or you don't.
Hold on, I'm going through it now. My daughter's 16. I've had her since she was 6 months. So now the transition of me trying to understand a young lady, I have to lean more towards her mothers that can, give her that. Fortunate enough, I have sisters,
and this is something that.
So you're right about that.
But okay, let me break this down, right? Whether it's a woman, like, cause you gonna do everything that you can do to raise your daughter and show her everything that she shouldn't go through because of what you put her through, because of what you went through when you was growing up, how you treated females, right?
Correct.
Now, but whether it's a male getting raised by a woman or a little female getting raised by a male, they're always gonna be missing something. So it's important to go seek out what they're missing. You get what I'm saying? And that's what all of us, like, all of us.
My show is about. Bring them on. We all gonna raise this motherfucker. We the village. Come on. Yeah, don't feel bad about that because you're not a man. So don't feel bad about not being able to teach him manly things.
Like, I'm gonna be honest with you, right?
Shout out to Uncle E40.
This how the world is so corrupt and crazy. Like I felt like coming home after doing that all that time. I felt like for one, I was numb. But in being numb, I was numb before I went to prison. You get what I'm saying? We lost all the childhood friends we had. We didn't lost them to the system, to the street. So you be numb. You be like, man, I'm just getting through. I don't even know how I'm getting through it sometimes.
Do you think we have
I'm just getting through it.
More? So, do you think, not to cut you off, do you think we have come accustomed to death?
Well, see, like to me, death is the only promise that's never broken. So yeah, like we know, but I'm talking about death. Like, you know, you lose somebody of age, that's a homegoing celebration.
Age,
right, no, correct.
Who's fully
when I say accustomed to death, let me reword that.
No, I get what you're saying. You saying accustomed to accelerated deaths. You get what I'm saying? That you got people that you lose at 13, 16, 17. So you get to question it like, man, hold on, he didn't deserve that. You get what I'm saying? But you know, that's a whole nother show with the deaths and the responsibilities.
Yeah, right. But no, because I say that because that could be a part of the trauma that we're going through as a youngster at 13 years old, losing a partner to gun violence. And you're like, damn, I just was at school with this dude. I was just at his house. So that's a part of that trauma that we don't get help on. We come accustomed to it.
But now let me say this. So then when you got a 13-year-old who just lost his best friend at school, and then you sit back and see him in the shell, what we have to understand as parents, grown men, like Steve said, it's gonna take the community to raise the community, right? So when he going through what he going through, you can't have YouTube, Instagram teaching your kids at home. Now go get them some time, but don't disconnect from what's important in your childhood with your family. You can't disconnect from your kids. You get what I'm saying? You got to disconnect from the things that is not adding substance to your life. Like for instance, like the other day, I caught myself getting caught up on social media. And I was like, hold on. It was so ironic that I even caught myself.
We didn't have this house.
No, exactly. We didn't have it, but I'm sitting there, I posted something, right? And one person that I expected to repost it didn't repost it, and I said, "Man, I'm logging off of Instagram." I'm like, man, I said,
"You almost caught Instagram feelings."
Yeah, I sat back and I said, "How did that just bother me like that?" You get what I'm saying? But it's all about, man, that rewiring, right? Because you just asked a question
that was something new right there. That was something like.
Yeah, but you said rewiring, right? So you said, how do they start? So how does a person start rewiring, right? You know, before you want anything, you dream it, you think it, you vision it. You get what I'm saying? So you can't sit in a house and vision change and then come outside and do the same thing. You get what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So you can't sit back and say, man, I'm going through dark days, man, dark moments. Grab a drink and ease that pain, and then think that when you sober, that dark moment doesn't exist no more. You get what I'm saying? You gotta hit your problems head on, face first. See, the only thing about life, it's okay to fall, but it's not okay to stay down. You get what I'm saying? So now when you dealing with kids and children and people that you don't want them to experience the childhood trauma that we get through or we went through, right? What you have to do is allow them a little bit of rope, but not enough rope to hang themselves. You gotta say, because you have to learn them before they learn themselves, because we don't even know ourselves right now as one. We don't know completely who we are. We learn every day. You learn something about yourself every day. So when you're dealing with the kids, you say, look, let me learn his personality traits. Let me learn his do's and his don'ts. You get what I'm saying? So then I can better accustom when I come grab him or her. Like, look, this ain't right what you doing, but you explain to him why it's not right. You get what I'm saying? You just don't say, that ain't right what you doing. Like, no, come here. Let me show you why it's not right what you doing, because it's going to lead you to this road or this road. See, a lot of us knew what road that it was going to lead us to, but we tried to take the shortcut, not knowing when you take the shortcut, you're going to end up starting back over. Look, if it's 12 steps and you miss step 6 and you get to 11 and then you don't make it to 12, you're not going to understand how important step 6 was. You get what I'm saying? Like, that's what has to be taught these days. Like, look, it don't matter who got it don't matter who got the most money, right? It matters who has it the longest amount of time. If I become a millionaire tomorrow, in 10 years down the line, I'm still a millionaire. The person who became a millionaire 20 years ago does not exist in my world.
Right.
You know what
But
somebody told me?
yeah,
He said basically, I can give you $1 million today. He said you're not going to have it because you're going to spend $1 million trying to look like you have $1 million. Then you're just going to look like you have $1 million and you don't have it. So a lot of people
but
what I was going to
what
say
we
is a
did.
lot of people. Go ahead, my bad. Go ahead, brother.
No, my bad. Go ahead, Steve.
No, I was gonna say a lot of people like with the thing what you were saying with the childhood trauma. I wanted to get at is we need to separate the two because you have a lot of childhood. There's two different types of childhood trauma. There's in-house childhood trauma in the home, and then there's childhood trauma that life brings as a young child growing up in the inner city, like friends dying and stuff like that.
But trauma is trauma because they don't break it. Trauma is trauma. I understand what you're saying. I feel like from the perspective of this. We know what it is, right? What solutions can we give? What ideas? I don't want to say solutions. What can we bring to the forefront to get somebody to understand? A, it's okay to talk to someone. B, it's understanding that we all go through emotions that's raw that we may not understand how to deal with because we've never had the proper help or even the proper people. Some people have never had their parents say they love them. So to get somebody to reach out to you and try to help you with something, and they showing you charismatic and real love, you might be defensive, and that's where some of these youngsters come from because they never had it. And so when you're trying to tell them something, if you come at a youngster, you're trying to give them some game about what they're going through, and they've never had that game embraced upon, they're going to be defensive to it. Period. No, because they're afraid. It's not that they're doing. I found out it's not that they're doing it on purpose because I coach kids that's 13 to 14 years old. And one of the things we do is what Moore said at the beginning, we do mental check-ins. And this youngster told me, he said, Coach, I get tired of these rappers talking about they motivate me. I'm like, what are you talking about? He be like, this not motivating me, showing me your money and showing me things like that. You know what that's motivating me to do? Go hit a lick so I can get it. And he was straight up with me. I said, so what motivates you? Show us the way that you had to grind and get the money. Show us you going through these things, making these CDs, messing up in the studio. That's the reason I did Artist Talk. Because again, some of these youngsters' emotions is raw.
Look, it's we the thing that separates us from success and failure is our pride and our ego for one. That's and true. Then we want instant gratification, right? We want to be recognized right then and there. So then once you make it, it's easy to tell what motivated and how you got there. So that's why I hit the ground running with this show, with my Instagram. Like, I want you to see my entire struggle. You get what I'm saying? Like, when I used to be incarcerated, and they'd be like, hey, what you doing with a cell phone? You know you ain't supposed to have it. I said, man, I got a story I'm documenting. And as long as y'all selling them, I'm buying them. You get what I'm saying? But, they give you a look in there that you using the cell phone to order hits and all that like that. I'm using the cell phone to stay in contact with what's going on with my family. You know what I'm saying? And so they don't
document it. 5 years in the making with this show, more like it's documented. Can't nobody take that from you.
Hey, I had one of motherfuckers every day in there. Every day of the time I was in there, it was like I was on the streets, and that's what he told me. He said, "Man, I understand you just talking to your family. You feel me? Not to get off subject with it, but he like, man, they think you doing hits and all this." And so I said, man, this shit is I'm just trying to make a better living for myself, and you're just like y'all. But yeah, back on track. What the trauma thing is, I think it's just like, man, you got to follow the big bucks companies, man. You got to follow the tobacco brands. You got to look at TV. They know how to target the kids. They know the kids like flavors. So it's all about how you present it. So if you get one of these, it's just like, look at the clothing companies, though. They know if 2 Chainz go wear some motherfucking Jabos, everybody gonna be wearing Jabos later on.
Material is different.
When it's the allure of it, the catch. So when you see somebody that you look up to or you feel is cool doing something that you didn't think was cool, then you like, okay, that's cool now. You feel me? So if you hear let Yo Gotti or one of these big timers say, oh yeah, I go to counseling. I sit down every week and I tell this person I do this. Oh, they looking now.
But they like do nothing wrong. They say this is, and the youngsters look at that because they see. This is what I mean by that. It has to start from the root. What we doing right now. Somebody like more compared, Yo Gotti got the bigger platform and the bigger stage. But more, and I'm not saying Yo Gotti is not authentic. Listen to what I'm saying and hear where I'm going with this. From somebody from Oakland, California, from the neighborhood he grew up in, they're more than likely to gravitate with Maul saying because they actually seen the step. They seen Maul sitting out there. They seen Maul go do this time. So for Maul to come at him and say, look, man, you want to do podcasts? We got our own network that we can produce a show from you. Do this, what you want to do. Here's what it's at. He can actually spit that compared to a Yo Gotti that has been on shows said he takes mental health. They're not going to listen to that because I told you what the youngster told me. They don't look at that.
This is what I'm gonna get at you from, and this is from life experience for sure. This is one of the reasons why I'm in college now for them to get my A for to be a counselor, because one thing I paid attention to was the people that was in it for the money and the people that wasn't. Everybody that around our area, Mal, they've been through 150 of juvenile hall. Shout out DB, Miss Low, all them. But yeah, everybody didn't been through that thing. And it was one thing about it is like you got your workers in there who so-called street, you feel me, or you got the ones who are really from the streets who transitioned and work in there. And it's a difference from you learning and listening to somebody who's actually sat in a cell 10 years, actually been on a level 4 yard, actually been in the streets and did the things that people are rapping about, and you listen to them tell you something different or tell you how to change your life, then you listen to somebody that went to Harvard and sat and listened to somebody that ain't never been to a level 4 and got paid $1,000 to come tell they 2-3 year soft prison sentence story to some college kids, and they wrote it down. That's the difference. Who are you going to listen to when it comes to facts and comes to the authenticity and like somebody coming from where you're from? So when I see DB, when I see Miss Lowe, when I see these people that come from the same pavement that I stepped on, telling me, that these are the things that I need to do to change my life, I'm more receptive to it. I'm listening to it. I'm like, okay, this is real because I see it, but this person, he ain't never stepped a foot on the street in his life. And he's sitting here telling me how to change and what I should do. There's no passion in it. There's no real, like, you're just getting paid for a service. You're not really into this.
So
let me say this.
I was gonna say more. Let's go ahead and we got the beginning, we got the middle. Let's go ahead and have Mar close this out, and let's go ahead and get some facts and details about how we can do this. Go ahead, Mar.
All right, well, what Steve touching on is what we go through. It's called lived experience. You get what I'm saying? They're gonna gravitate to lived experience, but to answer to what you said was, where do you get, like, if you notice, right? How long is school for the kids? 7 to 3, 7 to 2:15, somewhere in that area, right? So when you look at it, your kids spending 8 hours out of their day with somebody who don't relate to them, but just get paid to teach them. Because if it's a 30 to 32 room classroom, that many students, what you got to understand, that teacher gonna really relate to 2 to 3 kids max. You get what I'm saying? And so then what happens is, how much time you just had your child sleep for 7-8 hours out the night. Then you got them go to school for 7-8 hours. That's 16 hours gone. And how much time are you spending with your child to understand what are they going through? You get what I'm saying? They want to play the game. They want to get on TikTok. That's another 2, 3, 4 hours gone. You get what I'm saying? Then you're going to feed them. That's an hour, whatever. You get what I'm saying? So how much actual time are you spending with the kids to understand them? So then, like you said, the solution, do we go get government funding, get what I'm saying, and build platforms, houses, like Boys and Girls Clubs with financial literacy, therapy session rooms? You know what I'm saying? Nobody don't got to get a degree to school you. You get what I'm saying? Come in here and deal with somebody that know what you're going through. Sit on this yoga mat, this meditation mat, this conference room, and open up to people who's not going to judge you. You get what I'm saying? And really have somebody that you can go, hey, go to Rainbow. That room in Rainbow is open from 6 to 8 for the kids. Brookfield got a center. You get what I'm saying? And so what it is, it's just like what's going on in Oakland right now. The conversation is being had until it hits home, to where once it hits home, a person says, hey, I ain't got nothing to do with that. That's them youngsters. Man, I'm telling everybody that I talk to, and I'm going to continue to tell everybody, them Oakland streets is going to affect you by force or by choice. You get what I'm saying? So take the choice. Everybody don't got to move from Oakland. You get what I'm saying? And everybody don't got to stay in Oakland. If you come back to contribute, if you reaching and teaching one person, and because everybody know each other, you get what I'm saying? Since we operating on the internet, it might take one DM for you to say, look, bro, that wasn't cool, bro. I know you had something to do with that, bro. I'm just telling you because I love you, bro. That wasn't cool, bro. You get what I'm saying? Instead of solidifying it. Like, bro, I just went over there. Then you be like, man, now, you did what? Now it's accepted. You get what I'm saying? And so that's why I said we still have to understand, no matter how old our kids get, we still reflecting it, their reflection of us. Like, and when I say kids, I'm not saying my child, our kids, bro. We can never feel like if we gonna keep saying, OG dropped the ball, OG dropped the ball, we gonna be the same OGs that dropped the ball.
I don't even have kids, and I'm pushing this shit. That's how passionate I am
But
about this shit, man.
Finish that up, Mark, because you're making some good facts.
But like Steve said, he don't have kids, right? But he's affected. Before we just came on this show, he just expressed to us how something about his family was affected by some things that they went through. You get what I'm saying? And so when I say uncomfortable conversations got to be had, that don't mean negative. That don't mean come tell me you got this 40 on me with that. None of that. I'm talking about the uncomfortable conversation. Why did, I'm going to say this, and I was thinking about this all day, bro. This is what it is. They got all kind of things that they diagnose us with because it's funding behind it. They telling these kids nowadays, you can't sit through one class. You might be teaching math and say 2 + 2 is 4, and a little boy behind me say, no, 2 + 2 is 5. And they say, he got ADHD. I just said that, and he did. You get what I'm saying? He's bipolar. He's schizophrenic because he missed the math problem. These teachers can't diagnose you, but what they say, hey, he's not paying attention to class, send him to a psych ward. You don't call him over and say, hey, man, you usually don't operate like this. What's going on today? Do you need some time to yourself? Do you need to just sit over there and be quiet while I teach my class? You know what I'm saying? You need some time to yourself. They don't have the where or the know how to do that because they don't. Look, I'm coming here for my 7-8 hours, get my check, and I'm gone. You get what I'm saying? So we had rec centers, we had Boys and Girls Club, we had places like Coach Pico was somebody I can go to as a father figure, and he was right there. Jerry, Tim, everybody.
Horace,
we need to holler at Horace about that room too, because I know which room you're talking about. Not sitting that motherfucker. Hey, if I had to, no lie, man.
Listen to this, you guys.
But real quick, because I talked to Tim about some of the things I want to do, and like I said, I'm not acting like I'm limited, but I'm limited to the other people who I'm involving myself with. I got to be respectful for their lives and what they have going on. But I got a lot of support back in what I'm trying to do and how I'm trying to do it. I just got to get there. You get what I'm saying? So I'm trying to reach who I can, how I can, and with what I got from the internet, from the phone calls. And like I said, man, look, follow me on Instagram, Mal59FOD1Vision. I'm a DM away. I'm a phone call away. You know what I'm saying? And like you said, we got to open up lines of communication that people don't think exist. You know what I'm saying? We need blind calls. Call me from a restricted number and just let me be your vending board. You know what I'm saying? And no age limits. You get what I'm saying? These kids don't have, before this, we're going to close out on this. And parents, children, everybody got to understand this. You're not going to relate to your child every day all the time. And your child's not going to relate to you every day all the time. So allow them to build bonds with people that's going to lead them the right way, but let them come to them when y'all ain't seeing eye to eye. Let them go, hey, my daughter not seeing what I'm talking about, so she can go talk to Keith. She can go talk to Steve. But what has to happen is, we had this on the show a few months ago, the trust. The trust has to be there that Keith, Steve, have the same purpose and direction of where I'm going. So when my son or daughter come tell me I'm about to go talk to Keith because I said something to you, Pops, and you wasn't feeling it, I'm about to go talk to Keith or Steve, I can't sit back and be like, man, I wonder what he telling my child, because we got to know. It's got to be, in the reality of it, whether we want to believe it or not, they have the European history and teaching, and they have all these different teachings, right? We need a culture that we stand, that we understand. We need a curriculum for that. You get what I'm saying? We need a curriculum for what we do, how we do it, and how people understand us. You get what I'm saying? And it's going to take it might not happen tomorrow, but if I did something today that reflects and makes it better tomorrow, that's what I'm going to do.
Hey, you said something. I'm going to close out with this being said. Matter of fact, we're trying to get this spot. Shout out to Uncle E40. We stay drinking this. Me in DC, we got to make sure Liquor Locker. Y'all go to Liquor Locker, please. Liquor Locker, Roseville, California. With that being said, I want to say something. You made a good point. My policy with my football players is this right here. I tell their parents to work with me. So if your son not doing chores or you got to tell him 10 times to do something. When he get to practice, he got to run them many gassers. The dope part about it is I had a young man that came to my team. He had an ankle monitor on. I coached 13 and 14. So I wanted to see if this young man was going to be honest with me. So I came to him straight up. What's going on? I said, Coach, I want to pull you to the side. He said, hey, I'm not like this. But the neighborhood I come from lost my best friend. So I was in a knucklehead when my mama told me, bought a gun and got caught with a gun. Here's the key part. When I started talking to him, mom walked up, she in tears. She like, everything you telling him, when I just met you, I've been telling him. He in tears. I said, Mom, when is next court date? She said today, which was today. I said, give me his information. Give me probation information. She stopped. She looked. She said, are you serious? I said, give me his information. I said, I'll be from here on out speaking with them, and also me and him will talk. But I say that to say is what you were saying, the trust that we got to build. So with that being said, Straight Talk with Mal, we're back. Hey, we're going to start doing my off days for football is Mondays and Wednesdays. So Mal, we'll start doing Wednesdays at 8 o'clock. We're back with Straight Talk with Mal. Right after that, you know, we'll go into the New Steve show. For those that would like for, if you out there and you're suffering from anything, give your email real quick. I mean, your Instagram real quick.
It's
My
Mr.
producer
Check.
telling me hurry up.
Mr._check_please. Say, and it's Panamera Plastic. I mean Panamera P at SP on Facebook.
Mine is Big UMG on Instagram. Mars is Straight Talk with Mal on Instagram, and also we have DJ DC. Shout out to the co-host to the show with us. He's on the road today. Before I go, I want to give a big shout out. My condolence goes out to Street Knowledge family. His daughter, his mother, cousin DC is actually out there helping them. With that being said, we got to close out because we got people that's looking, that's trying to pay the bills. Mark, I love you. I'll give you a call and I'll talk to you. Make sure y'all tune in tonight at 10 o'clock on YouTube.
Watch what you say. People look up to you, man. Watch what you all watch. What
we out of here.
Say.